Can you talk about some of the bands that you kind of like worshipped or made you want to make music or?
Well, like Lifetime is probably, I would think of all the bands that are really big in punk rock and pop punk right now, is the single most ripped off band. It's everyone will cite them as an influence, yet none of the kids really, I don't think, like I think it's like too long ago, like it's not in Hot Topic or it's not in a place that's accessible to a lot of kids, you know, and it's not flashy and it's not these guys going out and touring with like the bands that are cool right now. But like if you look at like, you know, I mean I could name them, but like, you know, like Brand New, Taking Back Sunday, Save the Day, I think all those bands, I think all those bands would cite Lifetime as a huge influence. They just started doing something that was so much different and had so much sincerity and so much heart, and then they were just kind of the band that did it first, and then like everybody kind of came along and capitalized on it.
I mean, I can, speaking for us, I know we wouldn't exist really without Lifetime, I don't think. I mean, we might have come together and made a band, but it wouldn't have been this band.
Cool. Can you talk about how you guys came together?
The guy who tells the story about how we came together isn't here, so we don't remember it that well. But I think Joe, our other guitarist, called me up and wanted to do something like a little bit like more poppy. We were doing like heavier bands at the time, and I think we wanted to do a band that sounded like The Descendants or Lifetime. And then I believe him and Patrick ran into each other in a bookstore.
I didn't know these guys at all, and I was curious because they were in a lot of hardcore bands I used to like. So.
And then we just like, it was like weird because it's people like we in our earlier interviews we've said that it started as a joke, and people were like, oh, so you're making fun of it or whatever, and it's like, it's not like that. It's not a joke like that. It's more like, it's like a goof kind of, like it was just like, we were totally just like goofing around in the basement, and like there's no, like when people are like, how do you make your band be like yours? How do we make, like it's like, I don't know. You throw in a bunch of crap and like mix it, and maybe you get a cake, or maybe you get, you know, I don't know.
That was the thing I was telling somebody the other
pie.
You get Chicago. I was telling someone the other day about that, like, yeah, when he talks about like the joke thing. We weren't a joke, but we were just like, we didn't really. It was exclusively for our own amusement. It wasn't one of those bands where we like you know, in a lot of times you'll be in a band and you'll plan things out. You'll be like, oh, we'll do this because people like it or something. And this is like, it was odd because this was the one band that we like all just kind of like, we were just like, oh, we'll just do whatever we want, you know. And that's the one apparently, I guess, sincerity counts, I guess. So. So.
We're being paid to say that at least. If it was anybody else in this band, it would not be the same thing. If it happened under any other circumstances, it would be completely different. And like we've had other people in the band before, and it was just like not the same thing.
We were just some local band with with other people.
Just some weird thing, like when we all come together that like doesn't exist otherwise. Like for Patrick, for example, I've never had a creative relationship in the same way that I have with him. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, I don't really know how to explain it. Like we hate each other half the time. Like seriously, we're like disagree on every single point. Like anything you bring up, me and him disagree on. But then like for some reason, like as far as like creatively, like I've never vibed with somebody as well.
Well, the thing is that like the both of us like are really, really. Like, I'm gonna use focus again. I'm gonna say that thing so many times in this. Focus. But the two of us are really, really focused on on our own ideas, and those two. Almost always, those two things are the exact opposite idea. So when the two of them meet up, it's like, I don't know, somehow it ends up working, and it makes, it's one of those things where I have to rather begrudgingly admit that a lot of times the stuff that he kind of kept me on a leash about made the songs better. The songs are the music is what I do, and he does all the words and stuff. But we kind of give each other input on each other's field, and kind of
it's like, whoa man, I've seen bad stuff, but this is, I mean, you do a lot of bad stuff, but this is the worst.
You actually wrote the worst thing ever.
Congratulations, I'm looking for the award, and they must be shipping it still.
Remember the Razzies?
It's pretty amazing that you guys did this as a goof, and you just played in front of thousands of people, and those kids were singing every single word along with you. I mean, how does that feel, and did you feel that? Does it feel the same in front of all those people as it did in 20 people in the room like it did last year?
Yeah, I mean,
feel an intimacy with the crowd?
I think it's like, there's like a couple points on that. Like one of the things is like when we were writing this, we were in Joe's attic and we were like, why? Like there was never a point where it crossed our minds that there was going to be all these people who'd be into singing the words with us and it would be like this other thing. Like we just wrote it, and that's why it's so weird to us. But at the same time, like a lot of people are like, you know, you went from, you know, 20 kids in the room to, you know, thousands, and people say that to us everywhere, and it's like, we get a lot of questions in interviews like, well, how does it feel to be an overnight success? But the weird thing is we've been on tour, like last year we toured for like 285 days out of the year, and it's like, I swear to God, we played so many shows to one person is insane. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, I think that it built exponentially. So like for us, it wasn't an overnight success. Like it's a little bit surreal to be up there and like have that many people singing back. You don't feel like you're inside your body kind of. It's like the best experience in the world. But
the other thing too is that like it's all crowd to crowd, you know, because we play, you know, we'll play like weird you know, those weird fests where they're like where it's kind of like people just walking by and we'll have our kids, you know, but like if people aren't into it, people aren't into it, and that can be like one person or that can be like, you know, several thousand, you know, and so when the cool thing is like tonight did feel like the shows in you know the Knights of Columbus, you know, because these kids seemed as into it as the hometown kids when we played to like 40 people that were like really into it. And that's the thing that because I don't care about volume, I never have. That's not my thing at all. And like it's really whether people are into it or not. Some of those shows to one kid are like the best shows I've ever played, you know. So
it's like I think that we've tried to be pretty honest along the path of what we were doing and what our intentions were, and with like everybody. And I think that kind of honesty in like a band or like somebody who's like on stage in front of people can breed some sort of fanaticism. And like that obviously is like a bad thing when people are calling my house at 4 a.m. and then like my mom's just yelling at me. But like it's really cool on the other hand because to these kids, we're still their band. We're still, like, we're always going to be that band, and they're up there, and it doesn't matter, you know, like, there's other bands that are our level, and they're called sellouts, and people don't show up, or people go there and don't know, and because they're just played on the radio, and these kids, like, we've won over one by one, or, like, we know a lot, like, so many of those people in there are just friends that, like, we know, like, I'm really bad with names, but I remember a lot of faces. So, I mean, I just think that it's one of those things where it's like, we're still their band, so they're singing with us. It's not something where they're going there, and it's like, not something like where overnight we decided like, all right, now you guys should sing all our words, you know, or whatever. It's like been like that. When there was 2 kids at the show, that's still how it was. It just happens that there's a lot.
We're not like removed from these people. It's not someone that just hurt us or something. We like, you know, we've gone out to dinner with a lot of these people. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like these, like, so there'll be like 1,000 kids, but we know all of them, you know? Yeah. I can point and, you know.